On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
And here we are every Thursday as promised. Never did we go against that.
Never do we go against that, ever.
I feel like I'm in like a newsroom. I have my computer here instead of my iPad today.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I like that.
We're shaking things up.
Oh
it's giving professional. Oh, he means business.
He does mean business, and I really like that. I think I might do that next time.
I didn't even mean to. I see my iPad on the desk now, but I have a book on top of it. Before we started recording, I was like, I don't know where my iPad is. So
Lost.
we're solving mysteries over here.
Didn't you get a new iPad?
Yes, but that one is right now delegated specifically to a cold case that I'm working on for Cult Leader. That's over here.
Got it. Okay.
But I was like, I'm just going to use my laptop. He's got technology. We talked about this last week. 1%. He's
He's a 1%er. It's fine. It's totally fine, you guys.
Oh, God. No, it's honestly part of the iPad thing was it's so exciting when you're young and you get like a new piece of technology, right? And you're so excited, like, I got a new computer, or I got a new phone. I feel like when you're older and you're buying things out of necessity a lot of the time, like we're constantly having to get new equipment just for work. It gets annoying. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking switch everything over. Or this one doesn't have what this one has. Like,
You literally could not tell me a more exciting thing than getting a new phone and switching things over, organizing it, getting a new case,
Yeah.
all the things. And now I'm like, dude, I don't not to be ungrateful, so grateful for new things, but like,
yeah. So Steve Jobs, if you were listening and you were upset.
I saw a TikTok that was like, be the diva. You have to be a diva. It was like this guy giving a conference on like business. He's like, I will hire the diva. The diva.
Oh my God, wait, I saw that too.
Yes. And then said like Steve Jobs, diva.
Diva.
And
he was
like,
out there in those turtlenecks, just fucking giving it to him.
I also do love that. And that will never be me, I wish, but I love a uniform. I love like capsule. Okay, this is my black turtleneck. This is my other black turtleneck. This is my other black. Like, how easy.
I always have appreciated people doing a capsule wardrobe, and I have tried. I really avoid fast fashion, but then I end up getting so many t-shirts and stuff from like I'm wearing a Dollywood shirt right now.
No.
It's
same.
like you can't say no.
I found a fucking Gumby shirt at my parents'. It says like California Gumby. I think I wore it in Tennessee. I was wearing it earlier today. I'm like, what? But I just like how it fits and like it's so comfy. And I'm like, this is not chic. This is not capsule collection. But I just fucking love it.
We love it.
Love
We
it.
love it. We love to consume.
Love to consume.
Speaking of, I bought a cookbook that I just cracked open. It's called the Southern Sympathy Cookbook.
Ooh.
I bought it recently. I'm excited. It says funeral food with a twist. I feel like it's going to bring on a part 2 of funeral foods.
I was just going to say like funeral potatoes were a staple for a little while.
Yeah, so I'm excited to bust out some new recipes with that. Unfortunately, you won't be here to taste test this time.
I know. I'm so sorry. Well, actually, you should be sorry.
You should be sorry. I have to tell you, Geoffs, I think everybody, because of Dumbass Criminals, would love the show that I've been watching at night, which is Neighbors. Have you seen it?
Is that the HBO one?
Yeah, and it's each episode shows 2 different neighbor disputes. So someone will build like a spite fence in front of their house. And then the rest of the neighborhood is up in arms, and it shows them like going to board meetings about it. It shows brawls sometimes. It shows like showdowns, just fights between neighbors. I am obsessed with it. So if you need like a good, funny, decompress show at night, it's all real.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, is it for sure real?
Oh yeah, it's not like a reenactment or anything. It is the real people. I just cannot get enough of it. Love it so much. And then also shout out to you for the recommendation. I finally sat down and watched The Housemaid the other night because the champ was out of town and he wasn't showing interest in seeing it. And so I was like, okay, I'll watch it because I was just having a little bachelor night. I like ordered a gigantic pizza, sat on the couch and
got
to
see some gigantic pepperonis.
Oh my God, those knockers. Loved them both in it. Loved Sydney Sweeney in it. Loved Amanda Seyfried in it. And
So
she is an oddball in real life, which I love because she does like taxidermy and she's just fucking cool. I really like her.
Oh, cool. I love that. I do love like a little blonde starlet that has a little morbid side to her.
I think Amanda Seyfried is so good at playing kind of the crazy role, but the movie, I thought it was fantastic. You know, I'm a big Lifetime aficionado, and I told you it was kind of like a Lifetime movie, but with higher production.
Right.
I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I wanted to watch it again after seeing the ending.
Dude, I'm telling you, what is it? What is it about this movie?
I love it. And so once the champ got back from LA, I'm like, hey, you want to watch The House? He's like, didn't you watch it this weekend? I was like, yes, but I want you to watch it.
That's what I made Cisco do.
I'm watching it. I'm like looking at him like,
yeah, like, ooh, do you know?
Okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And he like laughed. He was like laughing. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm all pissed off. I'm like, okay, well, I thought it was a cinematic masterpiece. I thought it was so great.
No, I made Cisco and his friend watch it the whole time. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like looking like, do you think, does he know? Does he know? And then he would blurt things out that were like kind of close to like, he was on to it. He's like, something is off here. But I would pull the, I don't know. Just gotta watch.
Don't talk, just watch it.
I know. So good.
So that's another recommendation. And then final recommendation from me would be the DTF St. Louis that's on right now.
What's that?
Oh, I love it. It's with Jason Bateman and then Hopper. What's his name? David Harbour.
Okay.
And Linda Cardellini, who I love. She was in Dead to Me, remember? And then obviously Freaks and Geeks. Love her so much. I love the entire cast. Well, I don't like her in this show, but I like the cast. But it's good. So there's, I think the 6th episode. Oh, I think there's another episode out that comes out tonight. I'm fully caught up. It is basically about these 2 guys who download, like they're both married, but they download an app, kind of, a little mess around app or whatever. Oh. And then there's a murder. It's good. It's a good show.
Oh, I gotta watch it.
And I love David Harbour.
I'm gonna throw up. Hold on.
She gets nauseous a lot. I don't know. Oh no. Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore trees. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me close and tell me you'll miss me. While I'm alone and free as can be. Dream a little dream of me.
Hi.
I sang them a song while you were gone.
Oh my God, good. Thank you.
What just happened?
A lot. I took my Lexapro on an empty stomach, and it always makes me
you nauseous.
Nauseous. Okay. No, I'm not fucking pregnant. Okay, my period's about to be here.
We all thought.
Yeah, we all thought. No, not fucking pregnant. Hi. Okay, so.
And David Harbour is my favorite. I feel like he's just so good in that show. He's so lovable.
What's the why do people not like him? Because of Lily Allen?
Because of Lily Allen. And apparently, I think the story goes that they had an open relationship, as is common in Hollywood. But then he went around their rules and said I love you to someone or something. Here's the thing, when you open it up, it's gonna get messy. That is my opinion, and that is my belief.
I agree. I 1,000% agree. You know how hard it is just being with one person?
The idea of giving your energy to multiple people, I just don't think it can work.
It's going to get complicated.
Yeah, because then you develop feelings, and then other people's feelings get hurt. I feel like usually it's one person.
Oh my God, I'm a fucking mess.
Get it the fuck together, Madison. Get it together. Yeah, I feel like it's always one person kind of wants it more. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Not for me.
Not for me, but what is for me is some of the things you guys send us fucking crack me up. Spencer, I sent you, I don't know why this cracked me up so hard, but somebody sent us an email and the title was Fuck King Henry VIII. And then it didn't say anything else. It just was this picture. Look, I sent you the picture.
That's
what
from...
What is it? Is it Pompeii?
Yeah, I think it's from Pompeii. And it is a guy who looks like he's jacking off. And then that's just how he died. Girl, die doing what you love. I would, if that's how I go out...
Jerking it?
Which statistically, if there was an event like that, statistically, probably doing that.
I know. God, I love that. So yeah, fuck King Henry VIII. I don't think that's King Henry. I don't even think that's the right century.
No, very different. Very different time period.
Love.
But yeah, we're always gonna be fuck King Henry VIII. And speaking of assholes, I have one that says, am I the asshole for rearranging flowers left at my father's grave?
Okay, let's hear it.
My father passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly in September. He was married to this woman. We'll call her Pam. Background. They were married around almost 20 years when he passed. My father met her on Catholic Singles while still married to my mom. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Speak about it.
I know.
They were technically separated, but the irony is not lost on me.
Oh, yeah.
Pam openly told my dad that when they got together that his 4 children were his past life and she was his life now.
Of course.
Shame on him, but my dad never fought that behavior/mentality. In their almost 20 years together, I saw/met the woman 5 times.
Oh.
My brother's funeral, my grandpa's funeral, grandma's funeral, my uncle's funeral, and my sister's wedding. She spoke less than 3 words to me each time, aside from snarky side comments. I could get into how she left us kids out of his obituary. We weren't mentioned in the eulogy, and the gravestone only acknowledges he was a husband, not a dad.
Oh,
but you get the picture.
Wow.
Evil woman, sounds
know.
like.
Sounds like it.
The matter at hand. His gravestone was placed 2 weeks ago. Pam had him buried in her bumfuck tiny hometown of 45 people, an hour and a half north of my mom's house, which is 6 hours north of mine.
Okay.
When I visited home this last weekend for Easter, my mom, siblings, and I drove up to visit Dad. We brought live flowers and a plaque honoring that he was a father. His wife had placed a bouquet of fake plastic flowers when the stone was installed. Mind you, we only found out it was installed through the grapevine. We weren't told about this. She had chosen to have one of those built-in metal vases with his headstone and had her fake flowers in there. Since our flowers were alive and needed water, we moved her fake flowers out of the vase, stuck them upright in the ground, and then filled the vase with water and put in our flowers. We were respectful of her fake flowers. Ours just needed water. The next morning, Easter, at 7 a.m., I received a text message from Pam saying how disrespectful it was to touch/move her flowers. And if we wanted to visit his grave again, we were to leave everything as she has it. She further accused us of trespassing as we had driven by my dad's home. Not stopped, not gotten out of the car, driven by, and she threatened legal action.
Oh.
So I need unbiased feedback from people that don't already hate her. Objectively, were we in the wrong to touch/move her fake flowers to give our live flowers the water they needed? They also added a clarification saying my father was very much in mine/my family's life without Pam. We spent birthdays, holidays, vacations together and communicated regularly. The only one I saw 5 times was Pam.
Got it. So Pam does seem like the problem. It doesn't seem like you guys were, or that your dad had a problem with you guys.
Yeah.
As for the flowers, like, what? Did you light the fake flowers on fire and throw them in the trash?
They just stuck them in the ground.
Pam, get a fucking life, you bitch. And driving past a house is not trespassing.
Nope. And I know that legally. Because we've done it many a time.
Okay, just a little drive-by. We could have gotten lost. We don't know.
Yes. We don't know how we ended up 30 miles away from home.
Yeah, and it just so happened to be your home. And we know the layout because we looked it up on Zillow.
Yes, we just looked in the window, which technically wasn't even trespassing because you could see it from the alleyway.
Yes, we took pictures, okay? But that's
sue us, you can't.
From the sidewalk.
From the sidewalk, babe.
Okay,
every phone
Pam.
has Zoom. Okay, Pam. Pam's a fucking bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck her.
What a shame. Because
what a shame.
What a shame. And honestly, I mean, I'm sure your dad was lovely, but that's when you choose your children.
You choose your children. Your dad married this woman.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was the one who was allowing her to treat you that way. He could have easily, remember that too, next time you're bringing him flowers, is he easily could have been like, nope, I'm not going to marry a woman who would ever treat my children that way.
Right.
You're out of here.
Sometimes I think we give the dads a pass. Like if it was a mom, we'd be going harder. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Those are your kids, whatever. But we have to remember a dad is just
as much a parent. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's also on dads because they're always the ones leaving. Damn it.
Damn it. They're always going out for milk and not coming back.
Never coming back. Okay, well, this next one says, am I the asshole because I looked up and also, sorry, rip her fucking fake plastic flowers up. Fuck her.
And rip her a new one. I hope that I'm telling you, sometimes people need to get knocked out or get the fucking wind knocked out of their sails, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
Pam needs a fucking talking to. Pam needs to know, actually, okay, yeah, I won't touch your shit anymore. I'm going to take you to court and I'm going to get the rights to my dad's body. And I'm moving him 6 hours south.
Listen, reach out to us. We'll help collect funds so that you can get a billboard that says fuck Pam and put it right out in front of that cemetery.
Yeah. Fuck you, Pam. Wham bam. Thank you, ma'am.
Wham bam. Fuck you, Pam.
Eat shit, Pam.
Yeah. Okay, this next one says, am I the asshole because I looked up the mugshot of the guy my friend just met when he went missing at 3 a.m. Okay,
no.
This is a little confusing. So this has nothing to do with the show whatsoever. I guess maybe I could tie it to a dumbass criminal or something, but people were talking about this one, so I just want to share it. It says, so this involves me, 26 female, and my ex-friend, 25 female. We'll call her Z. Both of us are in medical school.
Middle school.
Middle medical school, yes. And Z is someone who grew up in a very sheltered environment. This is the first time she's living on her own and has access to freedom and is very socially unaware and plainly dumb as fuck and impulsive. Anyway, Z is very insecure. She has no self-confidence, so she just gets with any man that serves her attention. She ends up matching with a guy and invites him over to her dorm apartment. They've only been talking for a month. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
According to her, they went on a date and he said he was going to drink at the bar. And then it ends up being 2 a.m. He doesn't come back. She goes to the police to file a missing persons report since he's not picking up the phone. And it turns out he had actually gotten arrested for public indecency.
Oh, God.
She goes and bails him out, lets him stay at her apartment, and then proceeded to drive him back to the airport. And then he blocked her and has nothing to do with her. So naturally, I was curious. Me and my friends looked up the mugshot to see who the guy is. And that's literally all we did. And one of my friends asked who it was. We looked at it together and I sent her his name. Z had told her the story. And now Z is throwing the blame at me, saying I'm a shitty friend for looking up his mugshot, even though she went around and told everybody her business. Am I the asshole?
Absolutely fucking not. You're being a good friend. I would have done the same exact shit with this guy only being in their life for a month. I would say, ZZ, baby, you need a better head on your shoulders. You need a better picker. If he's out getting arrested for public indecency, what was he doing?
I would argue that she's not a good friend because the way she is talking about her is like she grew up very sheltered. She only talked to this guy for a month, invited him over to her apartment. Like, yes and no. Like, I think part of it, I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't categorize her probably as a good friend the way she's talking about her now.
I think she's angry. I think she is like, how fucking dare you cut me off and block me because I am trying to help you.
Well, she wasn't trying to help. She was just trying to look up the mugshot afterwards.
I think she was concerned. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Girl, you and I would have been up on that police station website looking up the mugshot.
I would have been at the police station. I'd have been like...
We would have been in the fucking Sprinter van in disguises.
We'd be in jail.
I know, just to get in there. Yeah. Just to see it. I don't know.
I don't know.
No.
Not the asshole for doing that.
Yeah.
I think that's a natural thing to do. I don't think you're the asshole for doing that.
I guess I just picture her being like, Z, he has a mugshot, girl. Like,
Z's embarrassed. Z's like embarrassed that she got clowned on. And so she's like, why are you looking up the mugshot?
Yeah, because I was curious. And I'm going to. And
if you went on a date with someone and then you were like, ugh, and then he blocked me and he got arrested, I'd be like, okay. And I would look up the mugshot. I would screenshot it and send it to you. And I'd say, girl, this for real. You bailed him out.
And I think you're a wonderful friend. You're the best friend. But if I was in a weird place and was like, well, I don't think I'd ever block you. But like, let's say I was fucking dating somebody. And
Cisco's in the other room like, what?
I know. He's in the wall behind me. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe she wasn't going to look up them. I know we're spending too much time on this, but I don't think maybe she wasn't. I picture it like this. She was probably logging on thinking, we've all been there. Hey, my friend is acting kind of weird. She did tell me that her little boyfriend got arrested. I'm gonna look it up and see exactly what the charges were, because was he showing his penis to underage girls?
Oh, you tell me. Indecent exposure. I want to know what happened.
Right. Or was he, what was he doing? So she was probably looking for details and then stumbled upon the mugshot and was like alarmed. So I don't
blame her.
I know. I don't think she's an asshole.
No, not the asshole. Well, Madison, you are up first this week.
So keep talking.
Gonna keep talking, I guess. Never stop.
I'm just sitting back, fucking trying not to puke.
Yeah. Take a Zofran, and I'm gonna just read you this.
Okay.
So I have a side bitch this week, but I would very much argue that she's a main bitch. Another show that I finally started. Well, I started it and then took a break, and I'm actually restarting it from the beginning. We watched the first episode together last night. The Champ and I, Love Story.
Oh, so good.
JFK and Carolyn. And so I actually have Carolyn Bessette Kennedy's Obituary as my side bitch this week.
Okay. First of all, wait, before you get into it, how good is it?
Oh, it's so good. It's
I told you, one of my best girlfriends called me and was like, oh God, like the soundtrack alone makes me want to call my boyfriend from high school. And she's like married and like kids. And
No, it's totally, I feel like it makes you so nostalgic for that era of time.
Yeah.
Everyone just
totally.
walking around, smoking cigarettes, hot, beautiful. I feel like that would have been such a fun time to like be living in New York and doing that whole thing.
Totally.
Okay, so her obituary, actually the headline for it I thought was interesting. It says Carolyn Bessette Kennedy compared to Jackie. And it says Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, 33, was a fashion publicist who catapulted to fame when she married John F. Kennedy Jr. Bessette Kennedy's style and penchant for privacy drew comparison to Kennedy's mother, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Born January 7th, 1966, the lithe, blonde Bessette Kennedy enjoyed a privileged upbringing as the stepdaughter of a surgeon in Greenwich, Connecticut. But not even that could prepare her for life in the Kennedy clan, a jet-setting existence complete with White House invitations and family weekends in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. She was notoriously press-shy, rarely speaking with reporters. Even the details of how she and John Kennedy first met are unclear. One tale says they met while jogging in Central Park. Another says they were introduced when he was shopping for suits at Calvin Klein's, where she worked as a publicist. She drew incredible scrutiny after marrying Kennedy on September 21st of 1996. Camelot's new queen trumpeted the Daily News after their secret nuptials on an island off Georgia, an event so exclusive that some family members were not invited. After a honeymoon in Turkey, the newly minted power couple were greeted outside their Tribeca loft by a swarm of photographers. People magazine, which had once dubbed her husband the sexiest man alive, proclaimed Bessette Kennedy one of the year's 25 most intriguing people. Carolyn Bessette also brought along a bit of her own mystique when she joined the Kennedys' ranks. Even in high school, she made a big impression. Her classmates at St. Mary's High School in Greenwich voted her the ultimate beautiful person. She graduated from Boston University with a degree in elementary education, but wound up working in a marketing job for a nightclub consortium. She landed a job at a Calvin Klein store in Boston, reportedly hired by a boss who spotted her walking down the street. Carolyn Bessette Kennedy is survived by her father, William Bessette, an architectural engineer, her mother, Anne Freeman, a teacher and administrator, her stepfather, Dr. Richard Freeman, an orthopedic surgeon, and an older sister, Lisa, who is the identical twin of Lauren Bessette, who also died in the plane crash. I mean, that story was so sad, but the obituary kind of perfectly encapsulates everything that
Totally.
is on the show. Like everything that was like portrayed about her life at the time.
100%. And yeah, that was a good obituary. I feel like it talks about the Kennedys, but not too much.
Yeah. I mean, that is how everyone came
Knows
to know her.
Yeah.
But also speak of like a capsule wardrobe. I mean, she had such a look,
Totally.
I feel like at the time. Just
Totally.
A cool girl.
And now everyone's trying to emulate it. And people are like, I saw something that was like, okay, some of you bitches, like she would fucking hate. She was a cigarette smoking liberal woman. And like she would hate you.
People also were like going online and saying shit like, oh, every dude's trying to dress like JFK Jr. and stuff. And I'm like, good. Oh my God. God forbid. I mean, not the hat, but the little
Those back
fucking kangaroo whatever hat. Yeah. Oh my God. There's a guy actually on that Neighbor show that I'm watching who wears one of those and I hate him.
Damn. I bet he feels cool.
Yeah. No one's pulling it off. Maybe JFK Jr., but no one else is pulling it off.
Samuel L. Jackson.
True. Okay, true. I stand corrected. All right. Well, on that note, I think everyone who's watching the show right now will enjoy having heard her obituary. I mean, that whole story is just tragic, the Kennedy curse. But
I know.
We're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, Madison's going to tell us what had her spinning in her coffin this week.
Another tragedy.
Oh, we'll be right back. And we're back. Girly, what had you spinning in your coffin this week?
Girly, well, I left you guys on a little cliffhanger. I said another tragedy, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Well, sort of. Okay. So I don't know why, but this week I wanted to find a cemetery to talk about. It was just on my heart.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
I can't imagine why. I know. I was like, hey, we haven't talked about a cemetery in a while. So I found some very interesting cemeteries that have sections primarily dedicated to disaster victims. And seeing it, like just the pictures online, were like really fucking haunting. There's one specifically in Brazil that I wanted to talk about this week, but I'm going to have to save that because I got put onto a whole, with this show, you start researching one thing and then it's a whole other thing. But it is haunting, like seeing people buried together that maybe like didn't know each other at all until tragedy struck. So, for time's sake, I'm just going to talk about one specific disaster, but it is a few cemeteries that hold the bodies of the victims of the Titanic. And we've referenced the Titanic here before, obviously, but we've never gotten into the cemeteries. And more specifically, we've never gotten into the recovery of the bodies from the Titanic, which is it's so interesting and it's sad and it's wild.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I'm actually interested to hear about that process. I don't know anything about it.
Okay. I didn't know anything about it either. And you know what? This actually works out perfectly because we are in April. And this episode will come out in April. And April 15th, 1912 actually marks the date that the Titanic sank.
Oh.
So this month is the 114th, if my math is right, anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're on theme. Now, the Titanic, like I said, we've referenced quite a bit before, but we haven't talked about the recovery or the bodies that were left behind. And I think when I saw it as a kid, the movie, I was horny for Leonardo DiCaprio and pissed off at Rose for letting him go. But two, I think I just assumed that all of the people who didn't make it onto the lifeboats just died and sank and were, eaten by sea creatures.
Well, in the movie, aren't they like white once they hit they like almost like looked frozen, like once they hit the water or whatever?
Yeah. And it was so freezing. Like, I don't even think like sharks were in that water because it was so cold, but there's other sea creatures. With like hypothermia too. I think with hypothermia, like you can sometimes get so hot you want to rip your clothes off and maybe rip the life jackets off. So I don't know. I just assumed, they all sank. Well, I learned this week that that's not entirely true. And it's haunting. That's my word for the day, haunting. So the RMS Titanic starts to sink on the 14th. Finally sinks in the middle of the night on April 15th. And right away, a ship named the Carpathia showed up 2 hours after the sinking to save as many people as it could because, as we know, the lifeboats there was so much wrong with the Titanic, right? Like, we've covered that, the curse, all of it. But there were not enough lifeboats to support the amount of people that were on the ship. So they had to send out another ship to rescue survivors, which, not so fun fact, the Carpathia actually sank 6 years later during the First World War. I guess it was hit with like 3 torpedoes. So it saved a lot of the Titanic people, but it also went through the same kind of death. So moving on, within days, recovery ships were sent out from Halifax. Now, the Titanic sank in the North Atlantic Ocean, which was near Newfoundland, Canada. So the recovery boats came out of Nova Scotia, Canada. And the main ship that was sent out for recovery was the C.S. Mackay Bennett. And this ship actually wasn't built for recovering bodies. It was a cable repair ship, but they had to do what they had to do. And they converted it into the largest floating morgue on Earth. I do feel like, in my non-expert opinion, I don't think that the people recovering the bodies like had any idea the magnitude of the lives lost or like what they were going to stumble upon. They stocked the ship with hundreds of canvas body bags, a shit ton of ice, embalming fluid, and 100 wooden coffins. And the ship was also stocked with undertakers. And I thought this was so cool. Jon Snow was the head undertaker that was like asked to take on this huge mission. And I want to read you a little quote from a funeral educator and historian, Todd Van Beck, from his website, toddvanbeck.com. It's so interesting. So the White Star agents, which were the owners of the Titanic, it says, quote, "The White Star agents also contracted with Jon Snow and Company, the largest undertaking firm in the province of Nova Scotia, to oversee the recovery project. Jon Snow founded the undertaking concern in 1883, and by 1912, he and his sons, John R. Snow Jr. and W.H. Will Snow, had become the most notable and successful funeral firm in the Maritimes. Jon Snow was no stranger to death, and in view of the numbers expected, Snow asked for and received the assistance of nearly every undertaker and embalmer in the province of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island. By April 16, 1912, more than 40 members of the Funeral Directors Association of the Maritime were on their way to Halifax. Among the group of embalmers en route to Halifax was one Mary Doddsky Walsh, wife of Arthur Walsh, who was the owner and manager of O'Neill Funeral Home in St. John, New Brunswick. Mr. Walsh was also a well-known actor and was away in Boston on stage at the time of the Titanic crash. Mrs. Walsh was assigned by Jon Snow to embalm all the women and children. At the Halifax waterfront, the embalmers were busy. Snow's had ordered several tons of ice, which were poured into the Mackay Bennett's cable tanks and holds. Each embalmer was instructed by Snow's to bring their own embalmer's grip with instruments. Cooling board and jugs of preservative chemicals were stored. Snow's also had more than 100 plain wood caskets brought on board the vessel. All the volunteer undertakers from the group assembled by Snow and headed by the chief embalmer, John R. Snow Jr., came on board. Each embalmer settled into his own room and awaited the departure of the ship. So there was like a shit ton of people from the funeral industry, thank God, put on this ship, no idea what they were going to fucking have to deal with, and set sail to go find bodies from the Titanic.
That's so crazy to think about. It's such like a famous story, and that feels like such like a big part of it. It's like we need a Titanic part 2.
I know. I totally.
The aftermath.
So there were also 3 other boats that were sent out too. The CGS Montmagny, the SS Algerine, and the CS Minia. When the recovery ships arrived, they didn't find wreckage necessarily. Like I read there, there was furniture and clothes and stuff like strewn about, but like they didn't see remnants of a boat. But instead, they found a bunch of bodies just floating around because all of the people were wearing life vests.
So okay.
They just floated. And you have to imagine, like, it's not like clear ocean water and nothing around them. There's icebergs. There's a shit ton of ice. Like, it took a long time to get to the area. And then just to see bodies floating everywhere is just...
It's more so what I pictured.
Oh, okay. I don't know why. I just was like, oh, bloop. Sank,
they're gone. I mean, I would assume some people probably sank because only did everyone have an opportunity to have a life vest, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the recovery teams had to create like a system. So everybody recovered was given a number and documented and assigned a category. The categories kind of pissed me off, but it was kind of like how the ship was categorized.
Like a class system?
Exactly. So you have your first category. This is the first class passengers, anyone who is easily identifiable and anyone who sort of looked like, I guess, they belonged in first class. They also put these people in categories of like, oh, these people look like their family would pay for a burial, which feels so fucked up. these bodies were embalmed on the recovery ship and sent back to land, which we'll get into. The second category were bodies that were too decomposed or kind of lacked any identification, and they were mostly buried at sea, which I'll give more detail about that. Third category, these people were clearly like crew members or third-class passengers and were primarily buried at sea as well. The second I read that, I was like, even if Jack was found, but he didn't because he didn't have a life jacket, he probably wouldn't have been recovered and sent back.
Yeah. Fully.
Kind of makes me sad. Something else that makes me sad is that the crew at some point realized that they had more bodies recovered than they had coffins. So they had to start making decisions. So here are like the stats. So I believe they were able to recover about 306 bodies. However, 116 of those were buried at sea. The ones buried at sea were literally given a funeral service by a reverend who came with them. He was Reverend Canon Kenneth Cameron Hind. And
they called him that because he shot people out of cannons.
With his behind. Yes.
Yes.
The ones who were in good condition and possibly wealthy were given the wooden coffins, and the ones who were not in the best condition but could probably still be identified were placed in body bags. And then the other ones were, given a little funeral service and then into the ocean they go.
Damn.
Now, so the ships have to bring the bodies back to Halifax, and I believe that they made it back on April 30th, which is almost 2 weeks out there, like putting in fucking work. And there are a ton of pictures that are, again, haunting of bodies laid out on the ship and being worked on. It just chaos. But the city isn't prepared to handle 200 plus bodies. I believe it was 190 bodies that finally made it back. But still, the city didn't have enough morgue space. Like, how the hell were they going to preserve these bodies while they're being identified by loved ones? So they needed a morgue, and Jon Snow had made arrangements to store the bodies at a curling rink, which is basically like an ice rink.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense, though.
I know. The bodies were stored at the Mayflower curling rink, and the embalmer's work still wasn't done once they got them there because not everybody was able to be fully embalmed right away. So they're still working on bodies in little stations on the ice. There's rows and rows of bodies just on the ice. They had little cubicle things, but still. And this is where they would march in family members and loved ones to go and identify bodies.
That'd be so haunting as a family member to not only go in there oh my God, I have to look for my loved one, but also I'm having to see all of these other faces of people who died.
I know. And they all had to wear ice skates.
Girl, imagine if you couldn't. They have those plastic triangle things scooting. Oh my God. Oh my God, is that her? They're slipping. Oh my God, that's her.
The embalmers are wearing ice skates.
Wait, did people really have to wear ice skates, or are you lying?
No. It's been 114 years. I can make one joke.
Oh my God.
Okay, so not wearing... Well, okay. So once... I'm almost done,
I'm going to throw up.
Yeah. I'm going to blow chunks. Jesus. Okay, so once all the ice skating's done and the identification is done, so now the city had to make a decision. Where the hell are all these bodies going to be buried? And most of the recovered bodies went to 3 different cemeteries. All of these bodies come through this system. They're recovered from the ocean. They go to a curling rink. They're identified if possible, and then they are divided one final time. Okay, so the largest group went to a cemetery called the Fairview Lawn Cemetery. This is where 121 Titanic victims are buried. This cemetery is beautiful, and it's instantly recognizable because the graves are arranged in kind of like a gentle curve, and it's meant to resemble the shape of a ship's bow, I guess. So like all these headstones are kind of not in a straight line, but in this like little gentle curve. And it's all the people.
Wait, I need to see. Oh, okay. I'm looking now.
Isn't that haunting though? Like all those people in a tragedy together and are now like eternally resting together.
Yes. Oh my God. Wow, there's a lot of them.
That's 121 there. Okay, but something that is also interesting is how many of the graves that don't have names. There's a lot that are like unknown male, unknown child, unknown female, or sometimes just a number. And then there's one grave in particular that people became like fixated on. And this one reads unknown child. And I guess for decades, like no one knew who this child was. People would visit the grave, leave toys and flowers and stuffed animals. He became kind of like I don't know, he was like popular for a minute. Okay. Well, then in 2011, this is almost 100 years later, they exhumed that body, that unknown child's body, and they did DNA testing on him.
I was going to say, why don't they just, for all the unknown ones, do DNA testing?
Well, I think they are. So they did a DNA test on him, and they found out that his name was Sidney Leslie Goodwin, and he was 19 months old, and he was on the Titanic with his entire family, all of whom died.
Oh.
Yeah, they figured out who he was. The next group of people buried in a cemetery, there were 19 people buried at the Mount Olivet Cemetery, and this is where all the Catholic victims were buried. And then lastly, we have the Baron D. Hirsch Cemetery, and this is where all the Jewish victims were buried. And it's the smallest of the 3 cemeteries. I believe only around 10 Titanic victims are buried there.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty. It's just crazy to me. And I don't know if I went out in a tragedy, would it add insult to injury that I'm like, okay, with all these other people that were in the tragedy with me and not?
Better there than fucking left at sea.
Well,
because they looked at you and said,
she's unidentifiable.
She's
She's third class.
Depending
Low
on the
class.
day, honey. Yeah, they might look at me and be like, wow.
Well, yeah. And I mean, the ship sank. I would have been in my pajamas, no wig, no eyebrows, no nothing. They probably would have. I probably would have been. No, I would have been buried as unknown male or something.
Object.
Yeah, they're like, that's a couch. That's a refrigerator.
Oh no, girl, not the refrigerator.
Damn.
Oh shit, that is so interesting. Yeah, I've really never heard anything about the aftermath. Quite an interesting story in itself. In fact, almost more interesting than the bulk of that movie.
I know, totally. Yeah.
I want a part 2. I want a movie just about that cruise ship of cemetery or of morticians. I
know. I wonder if there is. Probably not. Maybe.
We're funding it. We don't have a lot of money, so you're going to get the Lifetime version, but we're funding it.
You're going to get the fucking Pluto TV.
It's going on Tubi, but you're going to love it. Let me tell you.
It's going on Tubi.
It's going on Tubi, divas, but we are producing the first ever second Titanic.
Yes.
But the different one.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I mean, there's just so much lore around all of it. And there's that whole like RMS group thing. And they owned the Queen Mary, right, in Long Beach. And then also there's the whole conspiracy about the Titanic, which I personally
you talked
love.
about it. I feel like you covered it.
I feel like I did too, somewhere. In some show, in some format, in some way. Incredible. Thank you, Madison.
Thank you for listening.
I have to. It's my job. No, but I do love hearing shit like this. I love history, so I love getting to... It's like, tell me that in school. Teachers, you want me to pay attention? You want me to not need a cigarette break in 7th grade? Tell me about the funeral Titanic ship.
Exactly. 100%. Yep.
Maybe I wouldn't be doing blow in the bathroom. All right. We're going to take one more quick break. And when we come back, I'll tell you what had me spitting in my coffin this week.
Alrighty.
We'll be right back.
And we're back. Spencer, what had you spinning in your coffin this week?
Well, girly, in a recent episode, when we were talking about our trip to Graceland, we talked a lot, I feel like, about both when we went to Graceland and we mentioned on the episode just Elvis's financial situation at his death and how he had so little money in comparison to what he had brought in throughout his career.
Right.
And it got me thinking, what other celebrities have passed away in a similar situation or worse?
Oh.
I started researching this, and of course I found all these lists of like BuzzFeed-esque articles like these celebrities died broke and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I was already familiar with some of the stories, and some of them weren't really a big surprise either. But there were some names I came across that I just didn't know how much depth there was to their story. So I'm getting a little pop culture-y for us in our coffin spinner today.
Love.
And I want to kick us off with one of the greatest voices of all time. That is Miss Billie Holiday, because I was honestly shocked. So I had seen the movie about her. I've seen TV shows about her.
Remember we talked about her like premonition about her mom dying?
Yes. Remember that?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Okay. So the aftermath of her death is really interesting. For those who don't know, Billie Holiday was, or I guess still is, one of like the most iconic singers in American history. Just a beautiful voice. I swear, if you're like, I need to sit and work, I was actually listening to her while I was writing this coffin spinner, because I was like, oh, I haven't listened to her in a while. And so I put it on like her Spotify channel when I was writing this, and I was like, oh, I need to listen to her more when I'm working. She was like the it girl in the jazz world during the height of her fame. I mean, she really took that world by storm, and she was selling out venues all across the country, which was a feat for her, especially as like a Black woman at the time. I mean, they were still dealing, well, not that it's gone away, but still dealing with so much racism at the time that there was constant issues with venues, like even wanting to like allow her to come and perform. She really just fucking sold it out every single time.
Isn't there a story with like, I don't know if it's like propaganda for Marilyn Monroe, but like...
That was Ella Fitzgerald.
Got it.
That is true, I believe. She got a nightclub that I guess was not going to let, like they had this strict rule implemented that they wouldn't let any Black performers come on their stage or whatever. And she kind of, I think, convinced nightclubs to give Ella Fitzgerald
a shot.
Stage time. Yeah.
Okay.
But Billie Holiday, I mean, she was just fucking selling shit out. And so she had this kind of massive rise to fame. And then it makes you question, how did she die with just 70 cents? To her name.
70 cents?
70 cents. After a legacy like that, she died with 70 cents to her name.
What?
So for that, we can actually blame a man.
Of course, always.
So in 1957, she is a star, and she ends up marrying this loser, Lewis. And he exploited her throughout her entire career. He took advantage of her. He took advantage of her finances. But we also can't negate the fact that she heavily abused drugs. She was a heavy drinker as well. After the two of them got together, it seems like they were just so toxic for each other.
Okay.
He's been described as a quote unquote mob enforcer, but basically he took everything from her.
Oh.
And they weren't even married for that long. She died 2 years later in June of 1959 from cirrhosis. She was only 44 at the time, and they had already been separated by the time that she passed away. However, her total estate at the time was valued at $1,000 or $11,000 in today's money. But it's said that when all was said and done, there was about 70 cents left actually in her name. What? And her husband, Louis McKay, even refused to pay for her funeral. She had like pretty much bankrolled his life.
What?
During their time together. And he's like, no, not going to do it. He didn't want to cough up the funds. So this other guy steps in. His name was Michael Grace, and he was like a big fan of jazz music and a fan of Billy's. And he offers to pay for her entire funeral. And he was a pretty wealthy guy. He also offered to have her buried next to Babe Ruth at this beautiful cemetery in New York. But instead, Louis McKay was like, no, we're going to bury her with her mom at this other cemetery, St. Raymond's, in an unmarked grave. And it's this very strange juxtaposition because thousands of people attended her funeral and came to pay their respects to her, but then she's getting this lackluster burial.
Yeah.
And her cheapskate husband never gets her a proper headstone. And eventually word gets out and publications start picking up on the story. About a year after she dies, it starts getting reported on that she is just buried here in this grave with no proper headstone or anything or tombstone. And so the pressure's on, and Lewis is like, fine. He ends up moving her and her mom's remains to another area and gives them a big monument. I think he spent like $3,500 on it. So from everything I gather, Michael Grace ended up paying for the funeral, but then Louis McKay did pay for them to be moved and erect that monument. But in my opinion, that was her money, most likely anyway. So it's not like he's doing a huge favor here.
Right.
Also not giving him any praise whatsoever because he was awful to her. He beat her so badly. I read one article that she had to like tape up her ribs before going on stage to sing because of how abusive he was. So just a total piece of shit. It's just sad. I mean, she was so young when she died, like in her 40s, and
should have been the prime of her life.
Yeah. And instead, she was battling addiction, which, you know, is common. But then also on top of that, dealing with somebody who not only enabled and partook in the addiction, but also fully took advantage of her.
Right.
Sad. Next, we have to talk about another legend, the icon that is Judy Garland.
Oh, okay.
I mean, her life's messy. I feel like
Tragic.
We all kind of know that.
Yeah.
She's one of the earliest Hollywood stars where it was reported that she was just on all these uppers, downers, all arounders, and then pushed in front of a camera. And it's pretty well documented that, well, I should say allegedly anyway, just to be safe, but that MGM Studios had her on a lot of amphetamines to keep her kind of bright and cheery in front of the screen. And then they would give her barbiturates at night to get her to go to sleep. Fuck. And even though she was an on-screen darling, I mean, her personal life was a fucking mess.
Yeah.
And this was due to faulty management, excessive spending habits on her part, and also tax issues. And she died also prematurely. She was 47 years old of an accidental overdose on barbiturates. While thousands showed up to mourn the loss of such a legend, there was reportedly nearly 20,000 people that came out when she passed away. She was in massive debt when she died. And it's so sad because she was such a talent and she seems like she just emanated this sweetness, but the drugs just fucking wrecked her. And I was reading about some of her last performances and it reminds me of like Amy Winehouse or something. There was a quote from biography.com that said she was consistently late for performances. Her behavior on and off stage was erratic. Her speech was slurred. she would get scared to go out for the audience. And so she demanded more pills to overcome her fear. And there was one evening where she limped into the spotlight an hour and 20 minutes late to face a particularly hostile audience that threw cigarette boxes, rolls, and garbage at her.
Fuck.
According to a newspaper report of the incident, Garland attempted 3 songs before leaving the stage just as a glass was thrown from the audience and crashed behind her. It's
Have
sad.
you watched that Judy movie with Renee Zellweger?
Yes.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's just really sad to go from being this starlet to thinking of ending up with fucking missing teeth. Your teeth are all fucked up and you're all pilled out, rolling out on stage. Like, just sad.
You know, The Wizard of Oz is one of my favorites. Like, she was everything.
Oh, I remember I saw it at the Sphere.
Oh, yeah. Lucky.
So fun. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those fucked up things where she truly, it's not like, oh, she was just a star and so she was around all these substances. It's like, no, they really pushed it on her.
So was she broke?
Yes. For her, she was pretty much set up to fail. Her dad died, I guess, right before she got her MGM contract. And then her mom was this horrific stage mom. And then MGM just treated her like shit. Like when she's a teenager signing with them, they were like working actresses during those days, right? They're like, you're going to do we're going to give you $2,000 a week and you're going to do 40 films a month for us and like all this shit. They're giving her, a diet of cigarettes and coffee and pills. And then to make sure that they could film for hours and hours on end, they would lay them down. I read one story about her and Mickey Rooney, I think it was, like just being laid out in the middle of the studio and just being given IVs so that they could get back up and finish shooting their scenes.
Fuck.
She did have a really nice funeral though, and her casket's pretty. It was like glass on the top of it.
Oh.
And there's pictures you can see. Her remains are at Hollywood Forever Cemetery now, but prior to that, she had actually been buried at the Fern Cliff Cemetery in New York, which is where her funeral took place. But then her family moved her out to Los Angeles because they wanted her to be closer to them so they could visit her.
I think, is Toto at Hollywood Forever? I think he might be.
He's at an infamous cemetery, or at a famous cemetery for sure. Veronica Lake was another name that popped up several times, and beautiful. But that one surprised me because I didn't really know about her downfall.
Oh, okay.
She was only 50, she was 50 years old when she died from complications related to hepatitis. But she had also long battled alcoholism as well as schizophrenia, which I wasn't aware of.
I did not know. She's so I feel like famous for her waves. Everyone wants the Veronica Lake.
Yeah. Her hair was really so iconic, as was she. But she fucking took some hard hits from life. And by 1962, she was reportedly completely in debt, had lost all of her money, all of her fortune, and was working as a waitress.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm not saying anything about like trying to downplay that as a job, but to go from being a Hollywood starlet to doing that.
Yeah.
Sad.
Totally.
Now, Marvin Gaye is another one. I'd heard so much lore about his death, but he was $9 million in debt when he passed away, which I'm like, how does that even happen?
Did his son shoot him?
His dad.
His dad shot him?
Yes. He was only 45 years old, and his dad actually shot him twice. I think once in the head, one in the shoulder. His parents had this very tumultuous, abusive relationship. His dad was horrible, and his parents were just fucking going at it, and Marvin tried to get in between the two of them, and then his dad fucking shot him.
Oh,
and killed him.
Okay.
And what's even wilder is that his dad was charged initially with first-degree murder, but the charges were dropped to voluntary manslaughter because I guess he had a brain tumor, and they were like, oh, well, I guess we'll lessen his charges. All he ended up getting was a suspended 6-year sentence in probation.
What?
For the murder of his son. And then he died, I think, in 1998. So he fully lived years after committing
a heinous thing. Wow.
Heinous act. And not only that, but Marvin's trying to like his dad was the aggressor. He was the abuser. And he was trying to stop it. Like, just fucking wild. And then some other honorable mentions are Aaron Carter, who burnt through, I guess, most of the money that he'd earned. He was, in 2013, he had actually filed for bankruptcy. He was over $3.5 million in debt, which I remember he used to go live all the time on Instagram, and I would watch them sometimes. And he would talk about, like, I've got all this, you know, look at my house, like, but didn't have it. And then DMX, inarguably one of the biggest rappers, especially 90s, early 2000s, he was millions of dollars in debt to the IRS as well when he died. And then Gary Coleman, who I loved. Different Strokes when I was a kid. I loved that show. It was probably, oh my God, loved it. Yeah. Oh, I can tell you what I loved when I was a kid. It was all the Nick at Night. So it was I Love Lucy, Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, Different Strokes. Elementary School me. You want to know what my favorite show was? I had two. Or I should say three, actually. Moesha. The Parkers, which was a spinoff from Moesha. And
you
then
were on
a show
UPN.
I was on UPN. And then there was a show called Girlfriends.
Yes, I remember. Wasn't Monique
Loved
on that
show?
on
Monique was
Girlfriends?
on The Parkers.
Oh, okay. I was kind of the same. Nick at Night. I never got into Different Strokes. It was always, I Love Lucy.
Different Strokes.
Bewitched.
What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, no, I know. I also feel like there was the Brady Bunch. And then middle school me, Roseanne all day. I know, controversial. Roseanne all day long and Married with Children.
I never was. I've seen Married with Children. Never fully got into it. I would also say another big one for child me was The Honeymooners, because my grandparents had it on... Like they had was not a DVD box set because it was before that. It was VHS box sets of The Honeymooners. Yeah. And I used to sit there and just watch it, and I'm cracking up. I'm loving it.
Cracking up. You'd love Married with Children now. You'd get a kick out of it.
I've seen it enough. Like I've seen the episode, but I never got like, oh, okay, I'm going to watch every single episode of this.
Okay.
Like I Love Lucy, I've watched front to back a billion times.
Same. Yeah.
Probably my favorite show is my favorite show of all time. I'm actually, though, doing a Bewitched rewatch right now because I just bought the first season of it.
You did that. I feel like during COVID, you did a rewatch of Bewitched.
He's not original, ladies and gentlemen. He likes his shows. I Love Lucy, I did a full rewatch of. I did an I Dream of Jeannie rewatch for sure during COVID.
No, you did a Bewitched rewatch. I did I Love Lucy rewatch during COVID. I bought the whole box set that included like the first episode that was wild. It was like on a set and like it was so weird. So weird.
Some of the episodes aren't on streaming too.
I know. So that's why I had to buy the set.
See, it's like I'll try and get into new shows sometimes, but then I feel like I always just want to go back to the comfort. But I guess, Gary Coleman. Wasn't he on one of those Dr. Drew shows? Wasn't he on like Celebrity Rehab or one of those? Oh, he was on Married with Children for 2 years.
Oh,
He did a lot more than and he was on The Parkers.
Love.
He was not on Celebrity Rehab. Just starting rumors.
Fuck.
But he ended up working as a mall security person.
Oh.
Was his job, which other people too. Malcolm Jamal Warner, R.I.P.
He was at like Trader Joe's, right?
Trader Joe's. Yeah,
That's
and people
great
tried
job.
to be dicks about it. Oh,
yeah.
God, yeah. We've talked about that before. I'm like, I know I was just talking about all the glass in their food, so I probably never get hired now, but.
No, they have like waiting lists of people that want to work there.
Anyway, there could be multiple parts to this. I think it was just like, these were some of like the bigger names, especially like Billie Holiday, Judy Garland. I mean, where they had such an impact during the height of their fame and posthumously. But Billie Holiday, I mean, she won, I think it was 4 Grammys posthumously, which is incredible. But it's always wild to me to hear these stories, which we hear a lot about now still with child actors and stuff. And I feel like that's kind of like, unfortunately, the common trajectory is that almost like how in old Hollywood people got fucked with these contracts and stuff and people taking advantage of them. I think that just happens so much with child actors, especially if they have awful parents. I mean, you think of people like Shia LaBeouf. It's like clearly not doing well, you know?
Right.
Hot, but
so hot, well. But yeah, no. Very sad. I can't believe Billie Holiday was 70 cents.
70 cents. Or Judy Garland. I mean, it's just these names that I guess like we all know. And it's like,
I know.
What?
I know.
How did they have nothing? But then their estates become worth so much after they die. And that's what was pissing me off, because I was trying to find what happened with that Louis McKay guy. I couldn't find anything out with Billie Holiday's husband. I'm like, did he and his family, I'm like, they should not have that money.
Right. No. She didn't have any children or anything, right?
No.
Okay.
So.
God. Be careful who you marry.
Oh my God. Yes.
You know?
Girls.
Or
get that prenup.
Yeah. Have things in place. Oh, man. Well.
Should we move into some obituaries?
Yes, we should. And I actually have a death notice. I thought it was crazy. This is from the Press Telegram from 1932. After I read this to you, I think we're all going to know what this person was doing. It's a little, to have this in the newspaper with your name and all of that just is wild. Okay, so it says, Denver, August 13th. Circumstances of the weird death of Dr. Hugh Powell, 33, prominent Denver dentist, whose nearly nude body was found hanging from a dentist chair in his office here, puzzled authorities today. The body, with nothing on but a pair of woman's black silk stockings and a new pair of women's shoes, was found last night after his wife became alarmed when he failed to come home for dinner. A towel was... I think it was erotic asphyxiation. And he
100%. Yeah.
A towel was tied to the headrest of the dentist chair and suspended his body by his chin. Police said that if it was a case of suicide, it was the strangest case of self-destruction in the annals of the Denver Police Department. The doctor's neatly pressed suit was on a chair and his shoes nearby.
God.
Girl, sad.
He was on that goofy gas.
He was on that goofy gas in his stockings and heels.
Let him.
Love that
R.I.P.
for him. But not, sad that he passed.
David Carradine or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have one that's just fucking wild that I just came across. It was in the Belleville Daily Advocate, 1930, Saturday, June 21st.
Okay.
And it's a wild story. It says, crazed vet hurls wife and 4 children to death from cliff, ends his life.
Oh, God.
New Haven, Connecticut, June 21st. Ray C. Spang of Ansonia, mentally unbalanced, today threw his wife and all 4 of their children to their deaths over the edge of West Rock, a high cliff in this city's park system, and later jumped to his own death. Spang, who was 35 years of age, was a war veteran and recently returned from the Brooklyn Naval Hospital. He had been employed by a manufacturing concern in Seymour, the adjoining town to Ansonia. The dead, Ray Spang, 35, father, his wife, 33, Helen, aged 10, Lorraine, aged 7, Raymond, aged 5, and Donald, aged 3. Searching parties located all of the bodies and preparations were made to remove from among the rocks. Maury Bogdanoff, who was playing ball with other boys on the diamond in the little park, said he was looking up at a man who was standing on the edge of the cliff when he saw the man drop a child over the edge. He said he was frightened and ran to the telephone and called Grace Hospital. The hospital had an ambulance on the way to the rock before the police had started. Ernest Berube, a fireman who swung on a rope near Spang when the latter crawled down to a ledge of rock 70 feet below the top, said the man talked rationally to himself but would answer few questions. Spang would not consent to crawl over and take hold of the rope he hauled up. He then jumped to his death. So this guy tried to save him after he had thrown everyone else off.
Fuck.
And then the article goes on to say that he had just been released from a hospital in New York the day before, the husband, and then her and the children were so happy upon the return of the husband and father that it was proposed they all go on a picnic day. The brothers assumed that Spang brought the family here in his automobile. Just fucking crazy, devastating. Something about, like, obviously I read a lot of dark cases, but something about someone throwing their children off. I've heard people do it at hotels, cliffs. It freaks me the fuck out every time. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why.
Yeah, well, it's terrible, but it is like a freaky, like, and it's shocking. Just like they trust you so much and you just throw them. It's crazy.
Crazy.
What a terrible thing. Wow.
Well, speaking of some people who also did some terrible things, we have spun in our coffins.
We have bitched our obituaries.
It means it's time for some dumb
ass
criminals. Who you got?
I have one from the Long Beach Telegram and the Long Beach Daily News, 1921, but it made me laugh because it reminds me of your coffin spinner from last week. You'll see. It says, men arrested in Pasadena may be wanted here. Men giving their names and ages as George Rose, 40, and Clarence Lube, 22, were arrested in Pasadena last night on suspicion of burglary, and in their possession were found bottles of hair tonic made by Flora Hess of Long Beach, hair switches, and 3 toupees. Detective Sergeant Cervantes of the local police department wants to be notified at once by any Long Beach persons who may be able to identify these articles.
Oh, they got their little wiglets with them.
Wig snatchers.
I love it.
I love it. I wasn't even searching wigs or anything, but I read it and was like, oh, I know about this.
I'm going to come through that computer screen and grab your little wig.
I'm not wearing one.
I know. Okay. I have one just wild from the Columbia Daily Tribune, Friday, March 17th, 2017. It says, quote, police arrested a Columbia man after he admitted to defecating on a sidewalk downtown early Thursday, a Columbia Police Department spokeswoman said.
What year?
2017.
Oh.
Columbia Police Department spokeswoman Brianna Larimer said officers arrested William P. Murray III. You know William P. Murray II and the first are like, you have tarnished his name. He's 21 years old, of Columbia, early Thursday at El Rancho downtown. Larimer said Murray defecated on the sidewalk in front of the entrance to Harpo's Bar and Grill after he was thrown out of the bar.
Oh, no.
Police found Murray at El Rancho a few blocks away a few minutes later, Larimer said. She said Murray admitted to defecating outside Harpo's out of anger. Officers arrested Murray on suspicion of indecent exposure and released him on municipal summons.
Wait, this is,
what?
Remember Z? Remember Z from your asshole?
Oh, that's the guy.
This is the boyfriend.
I just love the idea of someone being, you know, he's 21 years old. He was probably blacked out. He gets 86 from the bar and just drops a dookie.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to dookie what you got to dookie.
At least he wasn't violent, you know?
No, it could have been worse.
Could have been worse. Oh,
hello.
well.
Oh, please. You want to know what happened to the people on Titanic?
Okay.
Then we'll talk about drama.
Mm-hmm. True. Truly.
Alrighty, well, I think that just wraps things up for the week with a nice little bow, but we'll be back next week for some more coffin spinners.
The bow of a ship and obituaries.
And dumb
ass
criminals. Goodbye.
Goodbye.